Okay, so I want to welcome you to my community service effort here to help people release fears and stress and anxiety they are feeling from this coronavirus outbreak. I'm calling it taking the panic out of the pandemic and choosing peace and courage. So I've been hearing from clients and family and friends, and of course in the news that I'm paying attention to, how stressed people are and how many different ways it is affecting us, all of us, everywhere throughout the world. And so I want to start, once we start tapping, I want you to know that I'm going to start at the largest level with the panic that's in the field or the air that we breathe, and do the tapping to release that level, because there are many levels and layers to this in how it's affecting us. So I'm going to start at the widest, biggest, in some ways most subtle, but most pervasive, and work to clear that. And then I'm going to be mentioning, as we're tapping again, I'm going to be mentioning a number of different ways it could be affecting us and that you might be particularly scared about it. And I won't go into any of those in great depth, but I'll at least touch on them, which will help you to release at least some, if not more, of what you're carrying about your own particular fears. I plan to follow up with this in, I think, at least one or two other community tapping sessions. And then I'm also considering starting a group that would be, I think, more of a closed group for people who also want the ability to talk a little bit more about what their particular concerns are, so that with tapping I can help them with their particular concerns. So if you're interested in that, please shoot me a text, an email, leave a comment on Facebook, anywhere you know how to access me, okay? So as we start, I want to invite everybody to check in with yourself and see where you start and where you're going to start. For those of you who have done tapping with me before, I really encourage you to focus on what you notice is happening in your body. So the first thing that we're going to do that is, I simply want to invite you to pay attention to think and be in connection with the bottoms of your feet. It turns out that feeling the bottoms of our feet will help us get grounded into our bodies more, just by that simple act of noticing what we're feeling in the bottoms of our feet. And this will help us to have more sense of what we're noticing in our bodies. So what we're looking for are ways that we're feeling tense or tight, pains and aches we might have, discomfort in our bodies. All of those are indications and effects of the nervousness, the anxiety, the tension, the fear that we're carrying inside. So check in, and I'm always asking people to use the scale from 0 to 10. How much tension do you notice in your body right now? There might be some upsetness in your stomach. That's another way that we experience anxiety and discomfort, uncertainty, and fear. So notice your shoulders, your jaws, your neck, your stomach. Where's your tension level right now? And then go to your emotional stress level. And as you let yourself open up a little bit, to the fears that you have, to that are inside, to the uncertainties, to the worries, maybe to the ways it's already affecting your lives in uncomfortable ways. Check in and see how much stress are you feeling from 0 to 10. How worried, how scared are you? And then I want to invite you also to check in with your thinking. How centered and peaceful is it, or how busy is it? How much are your thoughts just running from worry to worry to worry? How much do you feel like you're up in your head and you can't even feel yourself in your body? It's another way of noticing how much stress and anxiety is affecting you. So when you have all of that and you have an awareness of all of that, then we're going to begin. And so as we do the tapping, I'm going to shift my camera here a little bit so you can see me a little better. Follow along. I will say words out loud, and I invite you, if you're muted, it apparently I'm not able to unmute everyone here, not sure why, but as long as you're unmuted, then I invite you to repeat out loud what it is I'm saying, or at least parts of what it is I'm saying as we get going with this. Then because that saying it out loud helps your subconscious to hear it more and get it more inside, okay? So I'm going to start here, rubbing in a clockwise fashion. So even though I have the fear of what's happening in the world.
Even though I have this fear of what's happening in the world.
So, Sue, I think that's you. If you could mute yourself on the far left bottom corner.
Got it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. See the microphone on the bottom left of your screen?
Oh, no.
If you can't find, okay, all right, good. Well, if you can't find it, then just do it inside your head or mouth it. You could mouth it too. Okay, all right. So even though I've been affected by all this fear and panic in the world, I choose to trust that we are all much safer than I fear. Even though there are people who are definitely struggling and there are people who are dying. And parenthetically to everyone, I do not mean to dismiss any of the pain that anyone is actually experiencing when I say we are all safer than we fear. Okay, so even though there is this panic throughout the world, and it's affecting me on many different levels, some of which I'm conscious of, and some of which I'm not, I choose to trust that there are many, many reasons to feel really relatively safe, and to trust that humanity will make it through this, and we will come out on the other side having grown and expanded and become more loving and connected and more believing in the possibilities that we all have to create the kind of life and world that we want to see for ourselves, for our loved ones, for our children and grandchildren, and for all the people and life in the world. Okay, so top of your heads. When I have people tap on the top of their heads, you can see where I'm tapping. What I do with this is to invite you to pause for a moment, and you might even want to pause on your tapping, and open yourself up to the divine, using whatever words work for you. But what we're really doing here is opening our awareness to allow all the divine love and light that is everywhere around us and within us to help us now. We're the ones that close ourselves off from divinity. And whether we say a prayer, we say an intention, let's open ourselves up now for all the divine assistance that's everywhere, including the divine assistance that all of us on this call are bringing to this moment to support each other as we go through this healing. And then in your eyebrows, tapping on your eyebrows, all this panic that's in the world. On the sides of your eyes, right in the temples, all the ways I've picked up the fear and panic in the world. All the ways I've breathed it in because it's in the very air we breathe. All the ways my body's responding to it vibrationally because it is vibrationally affecting the world. All the ways that I am affected when I hear what other people are saying, when I read the news, when I see others and the looks on their faces, and hear the stress and the worry in their voices. Back up to your eyebrows, releasing all this absorbed fear and panic, and taking a deeper breath, trusting a little more in how safe we are, how safe I am. Letting go of that fear and panic. Letting go of that fear and panic. We've all been shocked and startled and thrown into a kind of uncertainty we've never experienced at this level and in this way before. But we're releasing all of that now, every aspect of that we possibly can, from our energy, from our fields, from our bodies, our neurochemistry, from our hearts, from our minds, from our muscles, our connective tissue, our cells, and our DNA. Releasing all of it we possibly can from everywhere inside. And feeling perhaps even a little shift as we begin radiating from our hearts more peace. So let's stop just for a moment, and I invite you to take in a deep breath in through your nose. I call this a waterfall breath. Many people call it a waterfall breath. So you breathe in through your nose to your capacity. Hold it for a second so that oxygen can get into those tense places, and then drop that breath out with your mouth, or through your mouth, I guess. And make a sound. Let yourself make a sound. Sounding as we are doing this increases the release. So again, a nice deep breath in. Hold it for a sec, and then drop it out. Letting it go. Checking in with yourself. Noticing what you're feeling now. Seeing what's different between now and where you were before we started. And now, before we start a second round of tapping, I want to show you my 3 quick go-tos for emotional first aid. Many of you probably already know these, because I show them to everyone. The first one you might think of as heart hugging, heart tapping. Variations of this abound. But in my variation, what you're doing is putting your palms together, placing them at your high heart center with some pressure, like you're hugging with your hands, and it has the effect of a weighted blanket. And then you tap back and forth with your fingers at the bottom of your collarbones. What I found is that this is very soothing and comforting and calming. So times when you need to feel more of that, this will help you immediately. The next one, and of course, when you do it much longer than this. You can do it for a minute, you can do it all the way through a difficult experience, you can do it as long as you want, but right now I'm just showing these things. The next one is the thymus thump, and I either take the tip pads of my fingers or a soft fist, very soft fist, and I tap right on the center of my sternum. Underneath is the thymus. What I have found with this over years and years of using it is it can stop anxiety attack. And clients of mine have been doing this for a long time on their own, discovering that it stops anxiety attacks. So this is very strengthening. It puffs up the thymus, as far as we know, and that gives us more emotional resilience. Okay, so this is a great one. Can help you just feel stronger almost immediately. Now, the last one is called an over energy correction. And you can't see, but what I'm doing is crossing my left ankle over my right. And then I put my hands together. And then I turn them back to back, as you can see. I bring my right hand over my left, and I clasp my fingers in together, and then I roll them into my chest. Okay. And in this position, you can sit back and relax. You can do it laying down. You can do it standing up, although it's best to do it sitting down or laying down. And what it does, it is the best thing I know of to help our nervous system move from the sympathetic, which is the state it's in when we're anxious or in fight or flight, or even the least bit worried or in our heads, to the parasympathetic, which is when we're relaxed and calm and feeling safe. This is very, very powerful. All 3 of these are very, very powerful, and they do different things, but things that help us tremendously in our day-to-day life, and particularly as we're facing experiences that are very anxiety-producing and fear-producing. Okay, so there's that little segue, right? So now I want to go back to the tapping again. And this time we're going to start here. So even though I have experienced all this shock in my system from my nervous system to my muscles, to my cells, to my DNA. The shock is showing up in my reactions. I might be more frustrated, more impatient, more jumpier in my thoughts, my sleeping. Many of you may have had trouble sleeping at least one or more of the past number of nights. So even though my body has experienced all this shock and my nervous system has experienced all this shock, I choose to let go of all of that shock now so that I have all of my strength, all of my well-being, my resilience, my fortitude to bring to living through these challenges and these opportunities. Okay, so top of your head. All this shock to my nervous system and how it startled so much of me or everywhere inside. Feeling startled and shocked and panicked. Feeling this shock. Choosing to let myself release all of this shock. I can release all of it. There's no benefit for me holding on to any of it. So I choose to feel as safe and relaxed and whole in this moment as I possibly can. Of course, I'm tapping on the sides of my ribs now. Just releasing all of this, feeling myself breathe more deeply, more fully, feeling my muscles relax, feeling all of me letting go of tension and tightness. Wrists, letting go of all this tension and tightness that I've been carrying ever since I first heard of this threat. Now I'm going to have you tap, again, if you've done this with me before or with some other people, you will know that you can tap on the inside corner of your nails. All right, so I'm starting in the inside corner of my thumbnail. That's the corner closest to me. Releasing the effects of this shock from everywhere inside. Same place on your index finger, releasing the effects of this shock from everywhere inside. Middle finger, releasing the effects of this shock from everywhere inside. And now the back side of your ring finger, feeling more space inside, feeling me open up, feeling me relax more deeply than I've relaxed since I first heard about this. And then back to the inside of your little finger, shedding all tension and stress and all the effects of shock and all the residue of the effects of shock so that my nervous system becomes balanced again. And I feel myself more relaxed, more at peace. Okay, and then let's stop again. Take another nice deep waterfall breath. Hold, and then let go. Breathe in and out. And again, check in with yourselves. See what you notice now about how calmer, the ways you're feeling calmer, more relaxed, more peaceful. Maybe noticing what's still there. I want to go through now some of the more particular fears, anxieties that are coming up. So when you're ready, I'm going to start back here again. Even though I have these fears and anxieties about what's happening and about what might happen, I deeply and completely love and accept all of myself. Even though I have these fears and anxieties and all this discomfort inside about what's happening and what might happen, I love myself and I'm going to feel better anyway. I'm going to choose to trust that we will come through this much more easily than the panic suggests, and choose to come through it with an open heart and with courage and resilience and fortitude and peace. Okay, up to your eyebrows. This uncertainty about what could happen. This uncertainty about all the things that could happen. All this uncertainty that keeps getting tripped or triggered in different ways throughout the day. We never quite know when we're going to see or hear or think something that's going to cause that reaction inside. That certainly has been happening through the past number of days, getting caught off guard. But letting ourselves relax, choosing to relax, choosing the strength and the resilience of relaxing over that fear need, or that need that fear tells us we have to be on guard. Being on guard only weakens us. And so we choose peace, and we choose courage. Letting go of the uncertainty, letting go of the fears of the future. And we can be present in the moment and live in the fullness of what the moment is presenting and all the possibilities in the fullness of this moment. Letting go of any of the effects of sadness and sorrow, the ways these hold us back from being the best and the strongest of who we can be, from reaching our capacity and the potential within us needed to thrive through these moments. Releasing any fear, any powerlessness, any rage and fury and feeling of helplessness or powerlessness in the face of this. And releasing fears, releasing dread, releasing the panic, right? This is the stomach meridian. It's associated with fear. So anything having to do with fear, panic and terror, or just worry and dread and apprehension, releasing it all. Releasing the uncertainty, the feeling of uncertainty in our bodies. The worry of going out and being in public, so that when we do make good choices for us, we do so wisely and without fear and stress. Release releasing our worries and our discomforts around others. We can open our hearts to loving everyone we come in contact with. Releasing any despair, any hopelessness that might be coming up. Let's go back up here. I want to focus on releasing all the worry that we may be feeling for everyone we come into contact with. For all of us who are responsible for promoting the well-being of others in one form or another. All our concerns for them. We release the negative effects of that so that we can stay in a space of strength and resilience for ourselves and for everyone. Back down to the heart again. Upper chest, I'm tapping all over my upper chest. Releasing despair, discouragement. On the sides, releasing, again, you know where I'm tapping, releasing any guilt. Perhaps we have guilt that we may have spread it to somebody else. We can release that, releasing judgment and blame. On the wrist, releasing anger, releasing anger, maybe anger towards ourselves, anger towards government officials, towards people who are responsible to manage and the welfare and the safety of everyone else. And I know some people are feeling a tremendous amount of rage at ineptitude. So you can release all of that too. Releasing frustration. We only have so much energetic reserve inside for dealing with stress. And so many people, as I've said and written, don't have that much in their reserves anymore, are perhaps already leading very stressful, very demanding lives. And the stress of this is causing all kinds of effects to our physical and emotional health. But one of the most maybe obvious is impatience and frustration and being short-tempered. So releasing all of that too, that we possibly can, so that we can show up in love with everyone who we interact with, whether virtually or in person. All right, and then back up to your eyebrows. So releasing and letting all this tension, all the rest of it, all the residue of it flow out of my body and my field, flow out from everywhere inside, so that I'm creating more space inside for peace, creating more space inside to receive energy from the divine, creating more space inside to open my heart, to feel gratitude, to smile at the beauty in the world and in my life, within everyone I love and within myself. Remembering that I am, we are all safe in this moment, that there are wonderful possibilities and opportunities to enjoy life, to be creative, to love each other, to rest and relax. I choose flow. I choose flexibility. I choose strength. I choose to trust that we're safer than I have felt. And I choose to believe that I and all of humanity have all of the strength, courage, love, and support that I need, that we need to navigate these challenging times in peace and with courage and creating well-being, even in the midst of challenge. So stop, take another couple of nice deep waterfall breaths. In and out. All right. Check in with yourself. See what you notice now. Mark in your memory the peace and the love and the calm that you are feeling at this moment. Knowing that you can carry it through to the whole rest of your day, of your week, and of your life. So thank you for participating. Stay tuned for other offerings, other opportunities to work through whatever challenges might come up for you, and other topics that I haven't addressed so far. But live the rest of today with a greater peace and balance within. Sending you
Thank
all
you.
love. Thank you. Yeah.